Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, everybody. It's BlabberMalt Show, episode 50 for March 5th, 2024. This is a milestone episode, and we have a milestone cast. Look at this lineup.
Man, we got a ton of people, and what we'll actually do is just pass the mic around the room and get people to introduce themselves and let everybody know who they are, and we'll just go down from the end. We're going to pass it down and introduce yourselves, guys. Tell us what you do here at Brew Kettle.
I'm Mike Vincent. I'm the facility manager at the Brew Kettle. I've been here for about 10 years now.
You can hold it. I can hold it for you.
I'm Brian Weber, the chief cook and head bottle washer, and so I guess I'm the guy that's trying to make everything work, right?
He's the money.
He's the money.
He's the captain of the ship, right? That's a good one. Captain of the ship. We'll go with that.
All right,
guys.
Let's go down this way.
Familiar face here at the Brew Kettle community.
Yeah, been here since 2008. My name's Jack Kephart. I'm head brewer, and this is Wally.
Yep, Wally Weiss, brewery manager. Been here since a couple of months now.
Yeah, some familiar faces all around, guys. Don't forget, Dave, how do they find us on social media?
Well, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're on Facebook,
Bing, bing.
YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, X, Threads. Just search BlabberMalt and you'll find us. And also hit the beacons and or the beacons link and get some swag.
That's a little swaggy swag for us today.
Sweatshirts, T-shirts, pint glasses, mugs, all
Coffee
that kind
mugs,
of good
the
stuff.
whole nine. If you have any questions for us about the episode tonight, or if we make any mistakes, or you want to just send us a question for future episodes, Dave, how do they get a hold of us?
Well, just email us at blabbermalt@gmail.com.
Absolutely, man. blabbermalt@gmail.com. Dave, how was your weekend, bud?
It was great. Winter warmer. I'm still recovering. That's probably these guys. I mean, everybody was there, right?
Everybody was
It
there.
lasted for like 6 weeks, right?
It felt like
for
it.
sure.
Here we come, here we go.
Yeah, winter came, and it was a good time. So Friday night was great with the Warmer's Eve, with the kind of the exclusive, 15 breweries that were there or so, and really just had a great evening.
Yeah, I can't do 2 days in a row. I couldn't go to the Brewer's Eve and then the Saturday event, but
I know you were supposed to come with me.
I know.
You just bailed.
I bailed on you.
Totally bailed
can't
on
do it.
me. But luckily, Tom and Maria were here.
Yes.
And only a few of the 15 breweries got 1.25 stars for their best beers.
Yeah, that's right.
Just a couple. And they're here tonight, too, by the way. And be looking out for their untapped check-ins here at the Brew Kettle here in Strongsville. So Winter Warmer's great. Friday night was fun. Saturday was just probably epic because it is the #1 brew fest, I believe, in Ohio. Let us know if you were there this weekend and you had some great beers. Why don't you comment below and tell us what you
What
did.
was your favorite one?
Yeah, what was your favorite one?
It was from the Brew Kettle, of course.
Yeah, brown noser, my man. Geely Christmas. Well,
I'm done.
he's
See ya.
done. There were just so many that were out there. Everybody brought their A game. It's just really fun to hang out with all of our guests and people who were there to be craft beer aficionados and fans and all the other breweries that were there just to really just hang out and touch base and see how everybody is doing. So it's just fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
So we got a lot to talk about with these guys, so we got to get into this. We're at the Strongsville location for the Brew Kettles. As you can see, we have the brew on premises kettles behind us here. They got a bunch of other facilities. We got 5 or 6, including the production facility.
And let's talk about that. I'm going to pass this off to the people who can answer those questions.
Yeah.
Them two over there.
Right now we have 5 restaurant locations and 1 brewery. We are currently in the process of building out our 6th location in Brunswick. So hopefully we have that ready to go the first week of April is when we plan on opening it up.
March 32nd.
March 32nd is what we're going with. So it will be in March, but it will be the 32nd. So mark that on your calendars.
Yep. Put that in my calendar.
We also have our Amherst location, Menor location, Hudson location, and the Football Hall of Fame Village location down in Canton. That's our newest one that we just opened up last year. It's doing really well. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's got the golf simulator, swing suites in there as well. There's 6 of them, and we also have 2 of those swing suites here in the Strongsville location. And we were planning on putting one in the Brunswick location as well. That might be the end of April or a little bit later, part of the second phase of what we're doing out there. But
And a virtual indoor shooting range, which is pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, the Engage. Is that what it, Engage? Yeah.
Yeah. What a
Yeah.
stellar, program that is.
I think it's important to keep the gun range virtual when you're drinking beer. That's smart.
Exactly, right?
That seems like a
It's
no-brainer.
less dangerous than like a water pistol, right? I mean,
Yeah, definitely. Put
Totally.
your eye out with one of those.
squirt guns will hurt you worse.
So this is our first time remote with this many people. So we're going to try to make sure that you guys hear everybody and really try to get the mic in front of people because we want to make sure you have all this information coming out to you. About those locations, how do we go from this location, right, with the brew your own on premise, the restaurant here, brewing across the street, to now kind of a mini empire with the Brew Kettle brand? Kind of how did that get going? And I know, maybe I can go back to Mike. You were around for quite some time for all of those. What does that look like? What was the process of picking up some of those other locations, the mindset behind it? And I think that's one of the biggest questions you've been getting is that idea of the Brunswick location. Might just hit the Brunswick one more time and then talk to us about what the idea was back in the day of moving out of this location into other locations.
The Brunswick location is a perfect opportunity for us that just came about. It feeds a need for Valley City and the other end of Brunswick. We pull from Medina, so it's really a good location for us there, which was really a no-brainer to open that place up. Amherst was our second location after the Strongsville location. I'm from Amherst, I live out there, so having that location was another one that just happened to pop up, and we felt the need for having something out in that area where there was no craft brewery presence. We did that one. 2 years later, we went to Hudson, was another location that popped up that came about. We built a Hudson location. That place does really well. And again, it was just where it needed to be at. After that, we went to the Menor location, which we always had people asking for something out on the east side. That location came about near the mall, so we ended up going out there. And then the last
That's
one
way
from last
east.
year was the
Way
Canton Football
east.
Hall of Fame Village. Again, that was just an opportunity that felt right for what we were doing. We had time to grow, and I think with Brian's help, we made that really a successful place right now for us. If you haven't been there yet, it's very close to the stadium. You can see from our patio. It's just an all-around great location for us. And then, now we're moving up to this year where the Brunswick location came up, and that's why we're going over there. So I think it's really going to be a good spot for us. I get asked all the time when that place is opening. I wish it was open already, but just give me till March 32nd.
Yeah. So, I mean, each of these locations has its own vibe, really. They're islands among, to themselves. Is that something that, as you guys move forward, you want to get away from and consolidate the feel, or do you want to stick to keeping what makes each place have its own pulse, if you will?
Well, look, my biggest change to the company is every one of these places is unique, right? This is Strongsville. This is OG, right? Let's give credit where credit's due, right? This is Chris McKim's creation. Chris, salt of the earth guy, one of the original Snob members, right? I mean, back in the day, Gary Vest, Bill Kirshner, these guys, the Snobs were way ahead of their times. I mean, they really brought craft beer to Northeast Ohio. Chris McKim, thank you, right? I mean, Chris and I are good friends. He's busy planting 5,000 chestnut trees in Southern Ohio right now, still doing what he wants to do. But, I mean, this is all, he started it, and, Jack Geffert created so many of the great beers, right? All the great beers, right?
Yeah, we modified some of the ones that were here before, but
Made them better, right?
But every location has to have its own personality, right? I mean, you come into Strongsville, and you get a certain feeling, right? You go to Hall of Fame Village, completely different vibe, right? We did some really cool stuff down there. We used wood from an old Civil War house that, you know, was over 300 years old. All the bar tops, the tables. I mean, it's, you know, it's like everything in craft beer, right? It's like a passion of love, right? You know, it's funny because when I saved that wood like 10 years ago, my wife was like, "Why are you saving that junk wood?" Well, guess what? I mean, you go down there and look at that, and it's you know, I'm very proud of it. Brunswick will have a completely different vibe than Hall of Fame Village or Strongsville or Hudson or Amherst, right? I mean, you know, we're doing the Engage simulators there. You know, it's going to feel more lodge-ish, kind of, you know, country-ish than, you know, say Hudson, which is, you know, every community has a different socioeconomic group, right? And they want to support something they feel comfortable in. So we're trying to create, you know, an atmosphere in every community that is unique to that community.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, you know, each community being their own island to themselves, they have different appetites for different types of beers. How do you guys, you know, address that, Jack? Do you notice certain beers in different pubs are moving faster, and you try to lean into that and create beers that mirror that or reflect that?
We definitely try to supply, you know, every location with the beers that sell. I mean, it only makes sense. But yeah, like Amherst, you know, prefers, you know, lagers and counterintuitively barrel-aged beers, so it's kind of a yin-yang thing for them. Obviously, Strongsville is your hardcore, you know, craft beer community here that's, you know, been here for, you know, going on 20-plus years. Hudson's also upscale and craft educated, so.
Jack's going on 30 years, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I said 20-plus. Anyways. And Wally, I don't know if you have anything to feedback, but yeah, we cater to, you know, all the locations.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like, we have our large production system that we have at the brewery, you know, and White Raj is our main workhorse right now. Thanks to Brian, you came in, you saw an opportunity to talk with Jack, and, you know, was able to get to a pilot system over into the brewery. It's a 10-barrel pilot system. So in that perspective, like, we're able to be a little bit more creative, especially when it comes to the pub side of things. Like, we have some kind of idea, or the brewers have an idea of something they want to do. Like, hey, let's go ahead and give it a shot. So that's, like, really cool that we have that little opportunity to do.
And I heard you guys did acquire that 10-barrel brew house, and I think that's important, as we just kind of discussed. As someone who owns, you know, multiple locations in multiple cities that are kind of far apart, you kind of see how that plays out. And we talked about it earlier with you guys that if, you know, if I don't have 6 lagers on a Medina, people kind of get upset. You know, and if we don't have 6 hazies on an Avon, the same thing happens. And so if you're brewing on your massive production facility, right, it's hard to be a little bit nimble, especially when you have multiple locations. So, you know,
that's the problem we've had, you know, since we even brewing over at Progress on a 20-barrel system. We definitely, this will allow us just to do small batches that allow us to experiment and just pure recipe development.
Nice. Speaking of kind of that vein, let's stay here and keep you guys with the mic. We haven't done the beer of the night yet, and I have mine sitting here untouched. We promised you guys out in BlabberMalt World that we had a breaking story for you guys, and we're going to, a couple of them, and one of them was the Brunswick. Second one here is this brand new core lineup beer that is going to be released here tonight and talked about for the first time ever on our show. It's right here in this pint glass. Wally, Jack, somebody, what is this beer? So I will tell you, look, so I snuck in here. This is not how they typically serve it. This is kind of what you just mentioned earlier, the flagship, the workhorse. This is White Raja, right? This is the when you think about Brew Kettle, you think about White Raja. You know, it's on every shelf in almost every store in Ohio, and it's just it's a wonderful IPA, right? What is in my pint glass, gentlemen, that we can share with the world what's happening right now?
So just going back a little bit with, you know, White Raja is definitely our workhorse, you know, and we've built the brewery off of that brand. Mm-hmm. It's been great for us, and we just thought what a better way would be is to just build off the brand a little bit more. So coming up with here sometime in May, we're going to launch 4 new core beers that are just basically focused off of White Raja.
Okay.
So we have, of course, White Raja. We're going to have a double Raja, which will be a double IPA. And then
My
we'll
favorite.
have a fruited version of White Raja, which will have mango in it,
Nice.
which we're very excited about. And then what's in your glass right now is Light Raja. That is a session
Light.
yes. That is a session West Coast style IPA, 4.2%.
Can we cheers it all, guys?
Oh,
this
for
is
sure. For sure.
So as we
I-
talk about it,
Cheers to
Cheers
Jack
this
to
way.
like really hitting this one out of the park.
so first time ever in the world, ladies and gentlemen, this is Light Raja coming right here. Draft only right now.
Draft only.
Draft only.
We'll be packaging it soon for.
Yep.
Well, that's good,
Yeah, you'll start
guys. That's
seeing
great. What's the ABV?
4.2.
4.2 ABV IBUs.
It's around 25. No, 35.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's a sweet spot.
We're really not marketing it.
No one does that anymore. No one knows what that means. IBUs, what's that mean? I get it.
This is about getting younger, right? This is about Gen Z, millennials, right? I mean, they're not the 1965, beer drinkers, right? That launched craft beer, right? So, we all need to get younger, right? That'd be a great thing if we could all get younger, but we can make beer younger, and that's really the goal here, right?
So we have a 4.2% sessionable Raja
Yep.
called Light Raja. You guys plan on doing that in packages? Is it draft only? What's it look like?
We actually just placed order for cans. So we're going to see this in 16-ounce cans at Progressive Stadium.
Okay.
We'll see it in 12-ounce cans also, 6 packs. And then we'll also have an IPA Raja variety pack that will have all 4 of those brands in there.
That sounds amazing. You guys heard it right here. We have the Light Raja. We have the Double Raja. And what do you have a name for the Mango Raja?
Just Mango Raja.
See, look at that. Mango Raja. See, moonlight me. Let's go. Mango Raja.
Mango Raja.
I will tell you, I didn't know what the name of this beer was going to be when we first talked about it. And I dig it. Nice job. This is a Light Raja. It tastes fantastic. It has that same hop profile as White Raja.
Right.
As you know, it's hard to do that with the less alcohol you have. It's hard to have the hops come through in the same profile that a higher alcohol version beer has. So we're happy with it.
Well, you should be, because it's a very good beer, and I'm a younger man. Not really. I wish I was, but you can't drink white Raja all day, but you can drink Light Raja
You
all
can
day.
drink it all day, but you get thrown out of the Indians game.
Yeah, that's
Or,
true.
Did I say Indians? Guardians game, right?
That's true. Yeah, Guardians.
It
Yeah.
also shows your age. So I think we'd be remiss to not give you the floor, Brian, as kind of to tell your story a little bit. We've all read in the papers the transition to you being the kind of the captain of the ship. I think that's a great way to discuss that, captain of the ship, and maybe review a little bit of the history of Brew Kettle. We kind of did that just a little bit. Brew on premise. What does that look like for you? What does it look like for the Brew Kettle? Just give us a little bit of history. And I know that Dave has a couple questions for everybody about what's been up and coming. But if people can hear from you about some of the history behind the process, maybe a lot of people don't know that the Brew Kettle has been around since '95 and here in this location, and they just see the outposts all around and rebranding. What's that look like? Just kind of give us your heart, share your vision for present day 2024 Brew Kettle.
Well, I'll start by going back in time. So I started brewing beer in my kitchen in 1994, and my best friend from high school, we started this little beer company called the Backwoods Brewing Company, and we brewed, every week in my kitchen. And I think we had 12 different beers, and we still have a couple of them in bottles, but not sure I drink it at this point. But, we I mean, the history of Brew Kettle, right? Brew on premise, you and your friends coming up saying, I want to make a lager, I want to do an ale, I want to do an IPA, right? Whatever, right? I mean, that's what launched so much of the craft brewers in Ohio. I mean, you know, I think when you think about all the breweries that are out there, I mean, I'll bet you, statistically, half of them learned to brew beer at Chris McKim's Brew on Premise. And then
For sure, yeah.
literally went on to create some great brands, right? Matt Cole's a good friend of mine from Fatheads, right? Matt and I go way back to the 90s. You know, we had an idea to put together Aviator's Ale Works, right? Again, young guys trying to come up with a lot of money, and you know, that ended up becoming Fatheads. And you know, Matt's a good friend of Jack's. The great thing about the craft beer community is everybody helps everybody out. I mean, it's like us against them, the big guys, right? So I started investing in the Brew Kettle in 2016. At that time, I lived in Hudson, and I built the building that the Brew Kettle Hudson is in. And at that point, you know, I had a full-time job, but you know, invested significant capital in the company. And from 2016 till now, I retired in 2020 after 34 years with a prior career, and you know, retirement lasted 1 year. Now I work 70 hours a week, and you know, 7 days a week. But again, it's a passion of love versus I gotta go to work, right? So you know, it is. I think ultimately that the whole industry is going through a consolidation at this point, right? At one point, like, everybody thought, look, you know, I want to own a brewery. I can create great liquid. Well, you know, the problem is, you know, you need capital, right? Where do you get your capital? You borrow it from the bank, or, you know, you have hopefully some partners that can put money in. And you know, I think what the industry is going through right now is a reset of interest rates, and how do we pay for this? How do we pay for that? Because ultimately what we were paying at 4.5% interest is now 11, 12, right? So, you know, there's a lot of great brands out there that, you know, can be consolidated, and you can allow those brewers to do what they love to do, which is, you know, create great beer. And ultimately, I think, you know, building a house of brands, right? Getting, you know, consolidating SG&A, driving down your input costs, right? You know, a single guy going out there trying to buy hops, trying to buy malt, grain, you know, cooperage, they're paying exponentially higher prices than what you can, when you get scale, pay, right? So everybody's trying to help each other out right now at this point. And you know, I think that was my big push, right? Like, how can we save a lot of other great brands? Recently, you know, we acquired Lock 15, Joe Karpinski, you know, super motivated young guy who's wants to create great beer. They have great food, right? Sorry about that.
Just make sure I hear you, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, there's going to continue to be massive consolidation. I think ultimately you're going to see it in the next couple years, right? So,
So let me ask you this. We're heading this way. So you have a target brewery in mind? Like, what would be the profile of the brewery you're looking at to maybe help out? Is it a unique location? Is it particularly good brands and beers?
Yeah, exactly, right? First of all, location, and ultimately, you know, are there barriers to entry, right? Are you in an area that is not oversaturated? You know, you could look at locations all over Ohio, but there's areas that are so saturated that the opportunity is not going to be there to save, you know, somebody. But there's a lot of great opportunities, right? You might look at 20 and do 2 or 3. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of announcements that come out over the next couple months about breweries that are going to be, part of the Brew Kettle family. And it's not to rename them Brew Kettle. It's to, give them the support and the capital and, the scale, ability of buying what they need from an input standpoint.
I think that's a great point, and I think a lot of people that I talk to kind of worried about that, like about their favorite brewery being acquired and then just becoming a Brew Kettle location. But just the way you were talking earlier, even your own locations, you want to keep that unique DNA, and I think this will make a lot of people feel very good about what you're doing.
Yeah, it's really, we don't need to recreate what other people are doing. Ultimately, most craft brewers are artists, which when you think about being artistic, it's a right brain function. A business guy is a left brain function, right?
Yeah.
So how do you, take those great creative minds and give them, the support they need? And I think that's where the puck's going.
Yeah, I mean, in a world where cash is king today, right, when interest rates are hitting 11% for some of those breweries, cash management is important. I know the difficulties of that when you and I talked today, just in preparation for the show, looking at your conversation of scaling up, right? The Lock 15 acquiring, the model of helping them to scale up a brewery that does well with their local beer brand, local community connection, but needed help scaling up. I feel that too, right? As a brewery that is, and I still believe that we're focused on small batch beers because we're very nimble. We can put a new beer out every week, and we have new flight every month, and it's just that's our connection to our community. But as we talked about earlier, once we finally get that 15-barrel brewery open, we're looking at a 70+% cost reduction. Over just tripling your product yield.
Exactly.
So, those things make a big difference for people, and I think that we want to know. I mean, people are going to be sharing this video. What is the heart behind that? I know we're in a kind of a sterile environment here in the brew your own BYO spot, but kind of share your passion with people. What's that look like for you? It isn't just about financial gain for
It's not
the Brew
financial
Kettle,
gain
right? Because it's not possible.
I've never paid myself a penny yet. So
Right?
I mean, look,
It's not a money grab. What's it like for you? Tell the people out here. They all read the Cranes article, right? When you talked about.
Paywall, not all of us read the whole.
Okay, well, it was behind a paywall. They're doing that now, by the way. It's only $1 a week, whatever. But so you talked about being the biggest craft beer brand in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Share your vision, because I think it's important. As you told me how it looks, talk that through, because I think people want to hear that, right? They want TBK. What's that like? Do you going to shove Raj down my throat? Sure. It's fine. It's wonderful beer. What's it look like for you, though? Talk about that as a passionate person, the captain of the ship, man.
Yeah, when to be the biggest, I don't think is the goal. To be the best is the goal, but the best is to bring on multiple team players, right? It is again a goal to consolidate some great brands around the state, give them the support they need, but it's not that the Brew Kettle is going to be the biggest brewery in Ohio. It's going to be a bunch of great breweries that are put together to be the most successful craft beer portfolio. Yeah. So yeah, there's no me in.
Yeah, but how's that different? Just to be fair, right? I mean, Wall, you came from the macro world. How does that differ then from a portfolio of macro? And people have asked that question. You've seen it online. What's that? I understand. We've talked, right? What does that look like when you talk about that portfolio? That's a great word. Help people out. What's that? What does that really mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
It's not Budweiser portfolio, right?
No.
We're not buying platform out,
No.
taking our 3 best beers or 2 they've never even brewed before, put them on shelves and shove everybody out the door. That's
Right.
not what's happening,
Yeah.
right?
Well, when
It's coming from a different angle, really. We're helping, a rising tide. We're lifting other brands up, whereas on the macro level, they're buying established brands and just paring them down and shoehorning them into their, into their house and their processes.
Yeah, and the other big part about that too is like the synergies that go along with it. So like, we have Lock 15 and we have all these other breweries too. It's like the more we have more of a buying power of what we need to purchase. So when you take a look at just Brew Kettle alone and how much malt we want to purchase, when we add in those other variables, those other breweries, like you're gonna start seeing that cost going down. So, and then that's just shared across the brands. So we all succeed.
Well, Fatheads, for instance, I mean, Matt Cole helps so many breweries, and most people don't know it, right? It's like, he's able to hand select hops that are the best hops in the market, right? And like,
I think I bought all my Citra off of him in the last. To be fair.
Majority of our hops we get from Fatheads.
Yeah. So while I just said the majority of hops get from Fatheads, we do the same thing. I'm not going to take. I want you to answer the question. I do. I think, but as we kind of sit and podcast about it, that's the true statement, right? To answer your question, that happens across the board. We get a lot from you guys. I mean, we all share brewers, we share people, we share ideas. If we need a pitch of lager yeast, we come talk to you guys about it, right? It's just what we do across the board. And I think we've all talked about that. Hey, I need a bag of grain. Sure, let's get it. Pay for it now. Return it when you need it, as long as it's the same product. We work through that process on a regular basis, literally all the time. Cans for bright cans. And so that's important.
Labels, cans that are shrink wrapped, cans that are painted, right? It's like, we'd all like to have nothing but painted cans, but maybe we can't all buy a semi-tractor load trailer of cans, right? So you end up putting labels on, or you end up, paying somebody to shrink wrap them. But again, if we work together and you can get economies of scale, right? That's really what the goal is.
Yeah, I mean, Matthias and I have talked during shows and after the shows about breweries in the area helping each other in the Cleveland community. And he said to me one day, he said, you know who's the biggest person that'll help you out? That's Brew Kettle. And he said, whether it's ingredients, expertise, advice, tables and chairs, anything you need. And I was like, oh, that's good to know.
I mean, that's one thing about the culture at Brew Kettle, right? The culture it's a giving culture. I tell my kids every day, there's two kinds of people in life. There's givers and there's takers. When you come across a taker, walk away, okay? Yeah. You want your friends to be givers. And, ultimately, that is the core of the people that work here, right? I mean, I think our average employee has been here 18 years.
Average?
That's
wow.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Think about that, right?
Well,
the longevity of people that,
You had Jack into that mix. It just skews the whole thing. I love you, buddy. Just
No, I mean, like
If we ever open a new brewery, I'm going to be it might be a while from now, but I'll at least be the doorman and janitor.
No, but besides Jack, we have servers here that have been here since day one, since the first day this place opened, and there's still servers here, right? And they love it, and their families come here, and it's like this is their place, right? I mean, we have bartenders that have been here, 15 years, right? So.
And then going back to the Brew Kettle history a little bit, I mean, Chris opened the place. It was up on 82 in that little strip mall up there. Yep. No restaurant, could barely serve their own beer. They had to have people bring in food from outside. And then they opened this place in 2003, 2004. They built this out. And Chris Altman, who's, director of brewing operations at Fatheads, was the guy that built this out initially with Chris McKim.
Yeah, cool.
So the community, there's, like you were saying, we share brewers, we share,
cross-pollinates
so
a lot.
By the way, Chris Altman is brilliant.
Yeah.
What a stellar guy.
So, as we move forward and you guys were acquiring these locations and building out and changing and growing, you came across the Schumans, right?
The Schumans.
Yeah, how did you meet them?
So, Evan Schumann and Marissa Sergi. So it was through another business that we were involved in together, and I mean, Marissa was one of the 30 under 30 for Forbes, right? I mean, she is just a workaholic go-getter, right? Graduated from Cornell University. Evan is, just one of the most like detail-oriented financial guys out there, right? He's not going to ever do what Jack does, okay? But, when it comes to a balance sheet or an income statement, absolutely brilliant. I mean, ultimately, we want to get to a position where, we have all audited financials. When I met Evan and Marissa, they have the Luvabella Wineries, which is a second generation winery out in Poland, Ohio. And, they're one of the, if not the largest, distributors of juice, privately owned in the country. I mean, they're in 7 states. It was very apparent that, look, there's 2 parts of being involved in a brewery, right? There's a brew pub and a restaurant, and that could be your passion, and you could be very successful doing it. Do you want to be in grocery? Do you want to be in chain stores? That's a whole different program, right? And, ultimately it made sense because, I mean, look, you don't get to be the guest speaker at, Walmart's national convention, right, if you're not moving product, right? And you're not moving product if people don't love your product, right? So, it seemed like a natural fit to bring in a chief revenue officer and, a CEO that had a different skill set. I mean, I came from a family of 7 kids. My dad, if he made $15,000 a year as a mechanic, we were, lucky to go out to, Pizza Hut like once a month. But, what I read every book and listened to every cassette, and it's about surrounding yourself with people that have a different skill set than your own, right? How many, Jack's skill set is different than Wally's skill set and different than Mike's skill set and certainly different than mine. And if you can marry people with multiple skill sets and let them do what they're best at, right, that's the best we could hope for.
So you mentioned that now let's ask questions, right? These are things that I've thought about before. Evan, his title here is, you just said, CEO?
Yes. So we're co-CEOs, and eventually I want to step away from,
Your second career?
Second career. Yes, exactly. No, I mean, I'll always be here. I mean,
Yep.
Evan's not a construction guy, right? He's a CG guy, right? And ultimately, the title of CEO is, that's going to be his to own. And Marissa is the chief revenue officer. They have a very interesting model in how they go about, incentivizing their sales force, right? It's a very different model than I think any other breweries using or wineries using. But it's incentive based, right? So you could work 2 days a week or you could work 7 days a week. How much money do you want to make? Ultimately everybody has a family to take care of, and that's why we all do what we do, right? Yep. And so we've been able to change our sales force, and it is making a big difference. I mean, we're up February over February 18.6%. In a year where everybody was concerned that maybe you're flat to negative, and that really I'll give our distributor, beverage distributors in Heidelberg, a big plug, and but it's our own internal sales force that's out there in market every day, shaking hands with general managers at Giant Eagle and Myers and so on, right? So
that's good. So with this winery on board, when are we going to be able to brew our own wine at Brew Kettle.
So yeah, we've been doing, we've had the wine cellar. I'll give the mic to Mike because the wine cellar has been a big part of Brew Kettle for many, many years. But yeah, we won't be buying juice probably like we used to, right? I mean, some of the things are going to change.
So the wine cellar's been here for, I think, about 10 or 11 years, maybe somewhere right around there, I believe. Some of the business with that has slowed down over time. We've taken that space and condensed it down a little bit and turned the old space into where the golf simulators are currently. I think it's a better spot for that, but we still do offer the wine making here as well as the beer making here, which will continue as long as we can till the business demand for it is. I think that with Luvabella, we're going to do some better things with it, and I think that the product is going to be a little bit better, and I'm looking forward to it.
Guys, that's a lot of great information. I appreciate that. The heart from you, Wally, looking at with being the brewery operations and stepping into this role and seeing how that all plays down. Jack, your beers are always wonderful, and I think that's a testament to your dedication over the years here at Brew Kettle. Mike, we're friends, and I appreciate your heart in helping out all the local breweries across the board with everything from material to as we talked about, tables to, when you were kind of in that role with doing both, it was a lot. I count you as a friend. And Brian, we appreciate your vision, sharing the goal. I think that when people read those articles, it was, what's it look like, right? We don't even know you. We're kind of behind the scenes. And so it's important to put a face to a name and kind of just get a good conversation going about what it looks like with you, future planning, really kind of creating that portfolio of breweries.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those announcements coming out.
Yeah. We're talking about other small breweries?
Talk about Canton Brewing Company for a little bit,
do that.
right?
Sure.
So last May we bought the Canton Brewing Company. What a history. I mean, back before Prohibition, they were brewing 100,000 barrels a year. I mean, that's
A little bit of beer.
enormous, right? It was, it's one of the oldest breweries in Ohio. They, interesting story, their head brewer during, and right after Prohibition was named Otto Weber.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm related to him. We're still working on that. But
Interesting.
I thought that was kind of serendipitous, right?
It was good to say it, doesn't
Right?
it?
Good old Otto, right? He was running beer during Prohibition to all the speakeasies, right? So, that's a huge project for us down there in
I got to
Canton.
stop you real quick. That's funny too, right? So we talk a lot about it. In Cincinnati, the biggest brewery in Cincinnati was the John Houck Brewing Company, and my last name is Houck, and so he's actually related to me. And so looking at it's on that concept. So John Houck Brewing Company. Here we go. Let's go to that 100,000 barrels a year.
Love to, right?
Keep going. Talk about it.
Yeah, so we're going to create something special down in Canton. We're right there at Centennial Park. It's a beautiful system. Jack actually brewed at...
Yeah, it's based on Willoughby's brewery. It's a JB Northwest, so it's a nice, single infusion, typical brew pub system. So it's shiny and
beautiful
pretty decent
copper.
set. Yeah.
It's an eyepiece. I mean, it's gorgeous. So we're going to do something different there with the food fair. It won't be a brew kettle. It's going to be very unique. It's going to be... It's going to have duck pin bowling. It'll have simulators. It'll have the virtual ranges. We're looking at potentially doing live concerts there. Rite Aid was one of our tenants in the building. We bought the building and the brewery, so it's a 45,000 square foot building, which gives us the ability to do some things on scale, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that we wouldn't do in regular brew pubs. I'm a big country music fan and have been, since I was born. But, ultimately, that people love live music, right? And, one of my prior, endeavors was the Boot Scootin' Saloon back in 1994. Bought the Akron Agora, and we had a great run for 6 years. Toby Keith played there twice. The Bellamy brothers played there. Merle Haggard played there. Shenandoah. I mean, it was something really special. I think we can do the same thing there in Canton. You know, probably the easiest community to work with from the standpoint of, you know, wanting to help versus wanting to stop progress. I can't say enough good things about, you know, the economic development team in Canton, and, you know, the facility they built there at Centennial Park, and literally you walk out our door and you are on the green. So it's a bigger project. It's going to take a little bit longer, right? Brunswick was a priority, and when we're done with that, Mike's looking forward to getting started on the Canton Brewing project. So it's been a lot of planning, a lot of planning.
Would you ever consider hosting some metal bands, some rock bands, maybe at Canton?
Some metal bands, yeah. Well, yes. I mean, you can't, you know. Yes. I mean, it's not going to be just country music,
He said
right?
yes.
He did say yes.
You know.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. I read you.
I mean, good comedians too, right? People love guys like Michael Hart, right? You know, I mean, there'll be a stage there, about 10,000 square foot, you know, facility to do things. You know, the brewery and the restaurant will be open 7 days a week. You know, the huge activity center will probably be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Sounds incredible. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I think that, so as we get kind of time to close this thing out, we do have one more announcement that I've been told that we want to do, and so we didn't get to that point yet. Kind of recapping as we kind of close out tonight, right? We have the kind of the big hitters we talked about giving to you. We have first time ever discussed this idea of a light Raja, 4-point.
Little Raja.
See? I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm not going to say it. You can do whatever you want to do.
Little light.
I think I'll say it. It's a podcast. It's fine. If I was marketing it, I put LIL, Lil Raja. Little Raja. It's
Oh
fun.
boy, it's out now. We got to edit
It's
this
out now. No
We gotta
editing
edit-
it. We're going
we gotta edit
live.
it.
So, Lil Raja. No, Light Raja. We have the mixed 4-pack coming out with the Mango Raja, the Double Raja, and this Raja in general. Hear from Brian about his vision for Brew Kettle and helping out all of the smaller people who need help in buying power, keeping the same people on, the same brand, same food choices, right? We hear from Mike and his work in the facilities, which I think that's a whole lot to handle when you're looking at that many spaces. You know, Wally taking over brewing operations from him is a big deal. You're such a huge wealth of knowledge and information, and I know that's going to be a wonderful asset, not just to the company, but also to help Jack out,
It already is.
who is a wonderful brewer and been around the industry from the beginning, and that synergy within the group is going to play out in the synergy within all the operations you're going to have in the multiple locations. So that's excellent. Can I pass the mic over to talk about this other brand new release we have here today as well? So Jack, what is this?
This is our Amarok Cuvée. It's a blend of 3 different barrel-aged beers. One is our Tunguska Imperial Stout, our Jackhammer Barley Wine, and the third one varies from year to year. I think this year's is our Old Ale. This is a passion project for our lead brewer, Louis Ferdinand. So he's basically our barrel cellar master.
So
And
were
this
these
is-
blended and then put in the barrel?
No, they were blend. The barrels were selected from a variety of different barrels.
gotcha, I
We, as a
gotcha.
group, Louis would pour out samples, and we'd sample them all, and together kind of pick the blend that works best. So it's definitely a passion, and there's a lot of passion in that.
Yeah, that's
glass.
good.
That's very good.
Yeah, so I haven't even got a chance to taste this yet. This is my first taste. I was stuck in my office when Louis was doing this. I wasn't able
Uh-oh.
to get out, so very good. But this will be available at the pubs
Okay.
on March 14th, so everybody knows. We have a limited number of bottles. Light Raja, it will be available. We're sending out to all the pubs this week. Starting Friday.
Friday, this
Yep.
Friday,
And
okay.
then our third pilot batch, or no, our 4th pilot batch, is will be out in about 2 weeks. It's a smash double IPA using just straight Pilsner malt and a locally derived hop called Alley, which it's been a passion project of mine since, February 2018 when we had some local hop growers had a get together at Collision Bend when they first opened and presented these different hops to
Nice.
the brewing community. And it's a great hop, and I encourage people to come out to our place and try it, and also at what is it, Green Acres? No, it's not Green. No, it's Valley.
Green Valley?
Green Valley.
Thank you,
Green
Jesus.
Valley in Hudson.
Yeah,
In Hudson.
John McGrody's
Yeah, John's
new
place.
place, so it'd be nice to compare the two
Yeah.
because he did the same thing.
By
It's
the
a
way,
smash.
John used to be the brewer at Canton Brewing Company.
That is true.
So
Small world everywhere.
Yep.
I want to.
I've been there several times.
Before we close out, we have a lot to talk about. We've kind of reached the moment where we don't want to kind of take away from the Brew Kettle experience tonight. What Jack just said is really important. I hope you heard it from everybody here tonight. Again, this isn't necessarily just a love piece with you guys. I think we tried to hit some questions that would kind of help answer for you what the Brew Kettle looks like. But Jack just said, I mean, with all of these opportunities, with new beers he's coming out with, and you've brewed hundreds of beers here for the Brew Kettle, he just said, this is a passion project. The new places are a passion project. Block 15 was a passion project. When you hear those words, I think it helps to understand the whole concept behind what you're trying to do here at the Brew Kettle.
Yeah,
Often-
we didn't
go
do a
ahead.
lot of talking about spreadsheets and bottom lines.
We did
and
not.
Net this and
So
gross
I promise
that.
you, they're
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah.
We all know that being the case, but especially with those early on days. But
We do this for free. We want to break even.
I make nothing.
I'm-
Well, why you do it, Billy? Because I'm selfless.
that's going to be a real, just so we're aware. But at the end of the day, right, sometimes you get lost in the growth and you think TBK is just this sterile environment, but you have, 4 of the top people leading the ship from facilities to brewing to kind of the captain of the whole ship, telling you that it's a passion project. They love people, love their staff, love the facilities, love the beer, right? And I, for one, have benefited from that from the standpoint of knowledge, product, friendship. And so I appreciate that from you guys.
I just want to get one plug out to, the guys that make the pubs and the girls that make the pubs special, right? Guys like Mike Berger, Jen Banks, Mike Thomas. I mean, these are people that have been in the industry for 20 plus 25 years. Look, a cook calls off in Menor and Mike Berger's out there working the line, right? A bartender calls off in Amherst and, Jen Banks is bartending, right? Hudson is got a cook that goes on vacation and Mike Thomas is, covering shifts, right? I mean, who does that, right? I mean, people are like, no, that's not my job. I mean, these people love what they do, and I think, ultimately
they love the Brew Kettle.
Yeah, and I think it's about the experience. We all want to get better. We want to have better beer to give our customers. We want better food, and how can we make it better? And we're always trying to reinvent, right? And we'll continue to try to make our food better, our beer better, and everybody in the craft beer and pub business is hopefully that's the goal, right?
Yep, for sure.
It's the experience, right?
It's the experience, guys.
Absolutely.
We ready to end it tonight? Guys, until next time, stay
Stay
malty,
malty,
Cleveland.